So, but now we've talked about squash and stretch in the face and how the rest of the face moves in relation to those mouth movements. So we can see that the basic mouth shapes are these. And a lot of TV animation, they have happy versions, sad versions. Then you would turn that into an A, right? You turn that into an E. You turn that into an O, or whatever. And then you just blink the eye, have the hair cycle, and then interchange the mouth on a separate level. So this kind of simple dialogue is done a lot and used a lot. If you think about it, now I want you to do this to me together. We've done this in the advanced archive. I want you to say, make an A sound. What do you do before you make the sound? Look, I'm making the mouth shape. A. The sound comes after. O. I think it'll be far more beneficial to you to understand how to take these basic shapes and apply them to your model. So in this case, the tiger. You've got your generic mouth, right? Right. Let's put a lip on there. Let's make it a little bit, right? So let's say we want to make an A mouth out of that. Many times when I'm working on, if you even like riggers would be building libraries for their puppets like this now, right? So you don't want to do much with the top lip so much, or because it's mainly the jaw that opens, right? So let's have this as we did this as a front on thing, right? So you've got your basic. I'm going to cheat and put it at a slight angle because it sells the mouth shape a little bit more. You got your basic A, right? Then we want to go to E. So I'm going to go back to the original and almost in between it, right? So then E, you might come up here and almost make a this kind of shape like this. You always want it to read to the individual. You're going to maybe have I like to put the bottom teeth on E, right? So this is A, E, right? So then you're going to do your A, E, I, O, right? So I'm going to go back to the original here, right? So even if I want to keep the smile, so I don't want to do too much with that top lip, right? So I've got the bottom of my thing here like this. So we bring that down. Now, I tend not to show the teeth. You could, but sometimes you may find yourself having to do that, right? So O, U would be, right, that kind of thing like that. I would actually indent the upper lip a little bit. Almost make a U out of the mouth. Let's curve that just a little bit more. Increase the intensity of the smile lines. Right. Again, I may not even want to put the tongue in there, but because I'm making such a big thing out of it. So this would be U. So we're going to come down here and make that super small, right? So these are just the basic shapes, but then I'm going to show you how we make them good for the tiger, right? Right, so this would be a W or a U, right? W. We want a F shape with the mouth, right? So F or V. We're just going to angle that up. We're gonna then bring our teeth. Maybe I like to put a few in there like that and have the underline, so that's F, possibly V as well. So the L shape will be... Now I have done this in the previous dialogue course as well, but it's always good to have a recap. So the L, I'll have something to the lip, bottom lip like that, and the teeth here. Now you could have bottom teeth, but to keep things clean, I'll just have the tongue there like that, right? So, and I will just shade that in, la, right? So L, right? No next panel, right? So I will just press that together a bit there like that. B, So this often is like just done as like showing people teeth, right? I knew I missed one, right? Right, so we're gonna have just our teeth here. Maybe that's a bit extreme. Let me turn off the light box for one, right? We're just gonna have our teeth there like that. Right, so consonant. Right, so let's just scrub through them. So we can see that the basic mouth shapes are these. And a lot of TV animation, they have happy versions, sad versions, you know, and depending on the expression, it all just comes out like that, or neutral versions, right? So I would have a kind of, let's just say we had let's just make up some kind of, because this lends itself to the anime style, right? So let's just say that we would have a face here like this, right? Let's just make up some cool anime character, right? Like that, right? And you'd have the eyes here like this or whatever, right? And the nose, right? But then you'd have the mouth on a completely separate level, right? So you would then have your neutral mouth, then you would turn that into an A, right? You turn that into a E, you turn that into a O, you turn that into a U, or whatever, and then you just blink the eye, have the hair cycle, and then interchange the mouth on a separate level. So this kind of simple dialogue is done a lot and used a lot, and it's really nothing, because once you listen to the sound in the exposure sheet, and nowadays you can scrub. Now you'll notice I haven't scrubbed on here. You watch, I broke the dialogue down in my notebook, which I'll bring out and show you again in a minute as I'm going to talk to you about the syncing the dialogue up. So here you have these basic mouth shapes, and syncing them up is easier than ever with software now, because you can just listen to the sound and put it there. Now we often want to before, so I'm just going to put me on face cam for a minute so I can explain to you. But now we're going to talk about why you should sync the dialogue 2 frames before, or if you've got no choice, bang on, never hit the dialogue after. So if we've got an N shape at frame 64, for example, I'm going to be looking at trying to get that N shape at frame 62 or frame 63. I'd rather not hit it on frame 64, because if you think about it, now I want you to do this to me together. We've done this in the advanced archive. I want you to make an A sound. What do you do before you make the sound? Look, I'm making the mouth shape. A, the sound comes after. O, I, la, k. Whatever sound you want to make, b. You can't do it without mouthing the making the shape with your mouth first. So that's why it's always best to try to hit the mouth shape early and not on tune with the sound, because sometimes it'll look out of sync. Never do it after. So that's my face cam example. Hopefully that illustrates it better. That I believe that'll illustrate it better than any drawing, right? Here. So now we're going to talk about, you can see here that, these basic mouth shapes that I made here, right? You can see that they are really, this guy's mouth is really quite exciting and quite interesting. And what makes it is also the facial expressions and the squash and stretch in his mouth shape. But I think it'll be far more beneficial to you to understand how to take these basic shapes and apply them to your model. So in this case, the tiger. Let's start with an A, right? So the first thing I'm going to do here, right, because he's got a muzzle, is I'm going to think about bringing his nose up, right? And as he brings his nose up, I might bring his eyebrows up, actually, right? So I'm feeling his eyebrows will go up with that, right? Now it looks like I'm resorting to the light box, but I'm only using it to remind me of his position. I'm not trying to, right? So now what I'll do as he opens for the A, this is very subtle, right? I'm going to increase the size of his eyes a little bit. But then I'm going to have the nose come up slightly, because you don't really move the upper muzzle so much because it's the jaw that's opening, right? But we're going to open it just slightly. Now, his muzzle comes down like he's got an indentation, but we don't want to really pay too much attention to that. We want to think about the jaw opening, right? So that jaw is going to open here like this, right? Like this. It's not a big roaring A, it's just a genuine A. So that's going to be coming under. We're going to imagine how that jaw is going to be coming right underneath the character like that, right? So we're going to open that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down, right? So I'm kind of almost on there, but then I'm going to squash and stretch it. Now although this is a straight line, I'm going to create some contouring on his mouth, right? Like this, right? Then we're going to find the other one in line with that. So it's deliberate changing of the angle, the squash and stretch in the face, right? So now this is going to come up like this, right? And then it's going to come down like that. So that's going to pretty much be, we want the deformations on the stripes. See it like that. Right, so then we're going to just come in here. We may actually, as these stretch, we may want to open them a little bit, right? As they're stretching, we may want to open them a little bit, really create that feel, right? So that's a potential A, right? So the takeaways are the muzzle, right? The cheeks, squashing and stretching, right? The slight lifting of the upper mouth because he's an animal. You wouldn't do it as much on a human. The jaw angling this way, the beard angling this way, the stretch on his face. super, super important, right? So with this, I'm going to jut his jaw out a little bit to kind of really kind of emphasize that E shape, right? So it's the same. Where was that E shape here, right? So you got the E against the A, right? So we're really, it's the same principle, but just drawn nicer. Now I need to find that on the other side, which is going to be about there, right? So here I'm going to come out here. So we're kind of stretching the mouth a little bit to make this E. I might even curl that up slightly, right? Just to get that E kind of feeling to his lower lip, right? Like that. Now here I'm going to insert more teeth, right? So you could keep it like that, but I'm going to actually throw in some bottom teeth, right? Just to kind of emphasize that that's a subtle E shape, right? We're playing with the subtleties of the mouth, right? Now I'm going to even compress these lines together, right? Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce this line here like that, right? So here you have a E shape, right? EA, right? EA. Can you see the eyes working and talking with the eyes now? We're going to kind of do something here which is a little bit different, right? So I'm going to come off the side here like this, and imagine he's got a front lip like this. Now I'm going to use the same principle, right? I'm going to have his bottom mouth here like this, right? But then I'm going to create an O kind of shape with it. Because remember going back to the intermediate archive where we talk about the distribution of mass, right? So if I'm stretching his face, I'm going to lose some mass so it feels kind of like the same, right? So because this is going to be brought down now like this. This is going to come in right here. These are going to kind of stretch up. So I'm going to stretch this nose down. I'm not doing it to in between from the O, right? Never think of it like that, right? Each mouth shape you make will have a different. So here I'm going to put in an upper lip. I'm going to use those things to kind of help define that, like that, right? Right. So then here I'm going to put in this mouth, which is straight, but I'm going to bring it off here like that. So the chin is going to come out here like this. Now I'm really going to remember the distribution of mass. Look how wide this is. So I'm going to make this really fat. And I'm really going to play with the shape of the lip. So here you can see how the mouth shapes are really relating, even though there's a lot of change in the face, right? The jaw, right, would sit here, right? So you'd have your basic jaw here like that, right? But what it could also do is it could also go to the side like this, right? Now I'm exaggerating a bit, right? And we can just draw the teeth model, and they don't have to completely be accurate as long as we see teeth, right? And I like once you understand an anatomical formula, he doesn't have a tiger's teeth, he has a human's teeth. But I'll very quickly go through it again, even though it's in the anatomy archive. It's like a good way is to just know that you've got like in the middle and half that, those are your 4 incisors. Then you've got 2 canines there, right? And then around the back you've got 2 premolars and then 3 molars going even back. But this front thing is always going to keep you in good stead, because even if you're doing an up angle, you just go like that and you've got your 4, right? And then you can just break them, draw gums in between them, you know, have whatever, and then like have them coming on the other side, like so. Once you kind of understand this thing, right, so we've got this, let's just do that. So you'll always kind of have a naturalistic looking mouth, even though it's way off, right? It'll look great, particularly in movement, right? This is the first time I'm trying an F shape with this character. I haven't had an F shape in my animation, right? So you're watching me problem solve right now, because I may have a bit of the side tooth there like that, right? So now I've got to think about this bottom lip, right? I may think about having these going into his mouth, right? Like that. So I might have that going into his mouth. So that's going in. I don't want to see the drawing underneath. I might have a bit of the lip coming here like this, and a bit of the lip coming here like that, and put some. Right, so we've got that, right? So now I really want to emphasize I'm going to take the canines down, right? I really want to emphasize the front teeth and the curling of the tongue, right? So we're going to curl that, and we're going to add the tongue underneath there like that, right? So we're going to have something like this. So here we have our L shape, right? So we have our neutral shape, we have our L shape, we have our B and our M shape, we have our F and our V shape, not always V. We have our consonant, right? We have our W and our U shape. We have our O shape. There's no U, but it'll be in between these two somewhat. So we have our E shape, which could also be a R shape, and so could this, really, depending. We have our A and our I shape, right? So this is essentially the way we tackle those basic mouth shapes with the drawn character, and how I'm going to tackle them, right, as I go throughout the scene. So we covered what these basic shapes are and just how simple they are, and how practically everybody, even a child of 6, probably knows how to draw them now in this day and age, right? So, but now we've talked about squash and stretch in the face, and how the rest of the face moves in relation to those mouth movements, those particular things. And we want them all to relate to each other, right? And even here, I've drawn them without them really relating, right? I haven't thought about them relating, but you can see that they still somehow relate, right? His eyes are a little bit crazy, is a little bit too much, but you can still see how they all relate pretty good. Now, go to AMBAnimation.com. You can watch, if you think, well, this guy's good at giving us information, but what is his animation like? Watch this. This is pretty much animated completely by me. Everything, including the backgrounds, painted up and colored and everything. So if you want to learn from somebody that can animate, and by the way, a lot of this was animated live to show off to you guys just how badass I am, right? If you wanna learn to be at that level, I'm showing you how to do it, right? I'm showing you completely with my Real Animator Training Library. Real Animator Training Library has been the labor of love, passionately built over the past 5 years by me, giving you pretty much everything I know in step-by-step tutorials. You can read all this, you can watch all these videos if you're really interested. You're not just, some of you might just watch the stream and go, take my money, right? I'm all for that. But if you're really going to spend and invest, then you need to watch and read all this stuff. We got two kinds of things. Edutainment archives, I won't talk too much about. Again, if you're interested, there's a bunch of videos in here that you can watch that kind of give you the overview. But edutainment's pretty much like what you've just seen me do today. Quick demos with fun and talking and no real training going on, right? Training is where you're going to go. We had a little look earlier. You're going to go in here and you're going to look at these you can either buy them in bundles or buy them one by one. So let's go in the intermediate archive, for example. You're going to go and you're going to follow step-by-step videos. You can watch this to see what's happening, but solid drawing character turnaround. So step-by-step, you're going to watch this one video where we create a turnaround of this flour sack. That'll kind of show you... hopefully the darn thing up there we go. Hopefully so we're going to create a turnaround of this flour sack. It's in here somewhere. There's a prime example of it. Watch the video. You can't watch this video playing, but basically I had a nice video of the flour sack rotating. So you learn that step by step. Then you go squash and stretch. Right? You'll see there's series. You got a 3-part squash and stretch series. So you don't just watch the video like this. You watch this video and go, yeah, okay, I'm going to try it with my own character. There's none of that going on. This is real animator training. You have to literally draw exactly what I draw. You have to follow along with the video, draw exactly what I draw. You can pause the video if you don't get it. This is extremely powerful, and it really does garner results. I've had people going off to work in the anime industry. I've had people going off to go and make award-winning films. I've had people to go off and do all kinds of things who have studied along with my training library. I've even had people from the industry who've worked on established shows. So again, you've got like follow through, overlap and drag. This is all. The flour sack series has around about 3 to 4 videos. You then go into the 4-step human walk cycle. So you learn how to make a 4-step cycle with this series. Quadruped, basic quadruped trot. Okay, you got 5 videos talking about the back legs, the front legs, how to put the back legs and front legs together, what to do with the head, how to time it. Okay, so you basically go through that with a walk, you go through that with a trot, you go through that with a canter. You go through that with a double suspension gallop or a single suspension gallop, sorry. And you go through that with a double suspension gallop as well. So if you're wondering what about human walks, well, as I demonstrated, that's in an archive earlier. These are all follow along archives, the basic archive. What you watched me do here, right? This is a lot more fun and a lot more cartoony and a lot more proficiently done, because I'm not doing it at a basic level, even though I said it's the basic fundamentals. But let's be real, so if you go into the front walk cycle, you're going to learn how to do it with this stick figure, all right? But the stick figure is going to teach you construction secrets, all right? So while this may move nicer in a sense, this is going to develop you a lot better at your fundamentals of volume control, arcs and things like that. So you're going to learn about a front walk cycle through these 4 videos, the legs, the arms, the head. So you do that all in the basics archive. In the pro archive, you're going to learn all about volume control. So earlier today you saw me doing this big beast of a character here, to get to that level, you got to work on what we call the secret science of shape simplification. You've got a 5-part video series on drawing the head. Okay, doing a head rotation and maintaining all the volumes of the facial features. Then you've got a complete body turnaround, 15 parts of doing a entire human body turnaround, where you learn the construction, you learn the muscles and all that stuff. afterwards. So you've got all of that going on in there. So that is the Real Animator Training Library, the world's best learning resource in the craft of hand-drawn animation. If you wish to be able to produce work to this standard, it certainly is right at your fingertips right now.